We're excited to welcome our first guest, Assemblywoman Nicole Malliotakis. Nicole is the presumptive Republican nominee for New York City mayor. She's hoping to defeat Bill de Blasio to become the first female mayor of New York City. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, so big news on your front because we had one of your potential opponents here and he dropped out right after you guys had a debate. Do you think you scared him off?
You know what? I think I did well in that debate, but I didn't know it was that well that he would drop out an hour later. But he's a nice person, Paul Massey.
Yeah, no,
He got
Paul
in
was
the
great.
race, contributed ideas to improve this city, which we certainly know needs to be improved with the deterioration of the quality of life. And I wish him well.
Nice. So why are you running? Tell us why you're motivated to run.
Well, so you're here in New York City, so you must see the deterioration in the quality of life that everyday New Yorkers are experiencing. So whether it be the homeless crisis that has increased, street population just last week, new numbers coming out showing a 40% increase in street homelessness, whether it be schools that continue to fail despite spending more than any other municipality in the nation, whether it be traffic congestion that has certainly gotten worse over the last couple of years, or whether it be the trains, which just aren't running properly with 70,000 delays a month. There's a lot of quality of life issues, and I believe that the mayor of the city of New York should be addressing what city government's basic responsibilities are: keeping the traffic flowing, keeping the trains running, making sure our sanitation is being picked up properly, making sure our city is safe, making sure our children are getting a good education, and of course, making sure our fellow New Yorkers aren't sleeping on the street, in the subway, or underneath the expressway. And so I believe that our mayor has diverted from that, the main basic responsibilities of city government, and that's why I'm running to defeat him.
Well, to that point, he certainly came under a lot of fire from the police by skipping the funeral or the memorial for a police officer who was slain, innocent, just sitting in her cop car, and she was mowed down for no reason. And rather than go to her memorial, our mayor went over to protest President Trump instead over at the G20 on foreign soil.
Well, I think that's part of the problem with this mayor is that he's more interested in fighting a national, or in this case, international ideological war, instead of actually doing his job in running the city and managing the day-to-day operations of our city. And that was awful. That, to add insult to injury after all the things that he's done in terms of neglecting these quality of life issues that continue to deteriorate and get worse every day. You had a train derailment a couple of weeks ago in which this mayor, train derailment in your city, 34 of your citizens are injured. You don't go to you don't go to where it broke. You don't go and issue a statement, at least wish those who were injured a speedy recovery. Nothing. And then the media went to go ask him questions later on that day, and he simply just walked away. He doesn't want to be accountable to the people of New York City or to the media. And in the case of police officer Familia, which was such a tragedy in our city, instead of staying with the NYPD, with the family, with our city to mourn, or to go and welcome the following day 524 new members of the NYPD, men and women who are willing to put their life on the line for this city. And during a time when they really need encouragement, they need your support, he's off on the next flight to Germany instead. It's completely outrageous and just shows the lack of leadership that this mayor has exhibited. And these two are really, they're bad examples, but they're not the only examples, unfortunately.
Yeah, even as a Democrat, I have to say I thought that was a pretty tone-deaf decision by the mayor. So it seems like right now there's a real divide between some of the citizens of New York City and the police department. How, under a Republican administration, how do we go about repairing that?
Yeah, I think that, look, our police officers do a great job. Each and every day they're out there putting their life on the line and willing, as you saw from police officer Familia, willing to give their life to protect our city. And we need to be respected, they need to be appreciated, and I think that leadership comes from the top. Over the past, our mayor has not, he has, I think, set a divisive tone. I feel that he has made comments that doesn't show 100% support for our police officer, and that's setting, I think, a poor example. Certainly, there are incidents, and there are, in any profession, there's going to be those individuals who are not doing their job honorably, and we need to make sure that we treat those individuals accordingly. However, I believe that our men and women in the police force all do their best in trying to make sure that they keep our city safe, and we have to respect that. I think we bring together people doing more public events without police officers. I think community policing was a good idea. That's one area where I give them credit in terms of getting more interaction between police officers and children. And one of the things I like to do is I bring the K-9 unit to my local schools. It teaches children to not only respect police officers, but respect animals and to treat them humanely, because, as you know, people torture animals and they're very cruel, and that's something we want to set a tone early on in people's youth. So I think that by doing things like that and making sure the police are interacting regularly with our community, doing PSAs on certain subjects that may be high profile at a time or controversial. Those are things that we need to do in order to keep us united. But always, always, the mayor of the city needs to be supportive of our NYPD, needs to give them the tools to do their job, and can't tie their hands when it comes to issues like, for the issue of sanctuary city. Look, we've had a sanctuary city really going back to Ed Koch in this city, and no one's really dispute that. If someone comes forward, they report a crime, they don't ask their citizenship status, and that's been a policy that's been in place. But what this mayor has done is expand that to say individuals who commit crimes such as grand larceny, sex abuse, patronizing a child for prostitution, those are crimes in which now we're going to tie the hands of the NYPD and not allow them to do their job, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah, as a former public defender actually in Manhattan, do you plan on bringing back broken windows policing?
Well, I think, look, if you just need to walk around New York City for an hour and you'll probably see somebody publicly urinating, you see somebody littering, I think that there are these crimes are quality of life crimes that affect all of us, and those are crimes that need to be enforced. These crimes, that are taking place now, people think it's a free-for-all. They can just urinate wherever they want. They're defecating wherever they want. In fact, someone last week, I was at Fox Business Studio, and someone told me they took the train there, and someone was defecating on the train with a bunch of people, a crowded train, and it's just no regard for fellow citizens. So I believe those crimes need to be enforced.
Yeah.
So we've got some comments here. Diane Joshua Marishi says, as a New York City resident, based on what she has said in the last 2 minutes alone, Nicole already has my vote. Zach Merrill says, Nicole, how do you speak to such a liberal area like New York City? That has to be tough, right?
Well, look, there's no doubt New York City's a liberal town. It's a Democratic town. There's no doubt about it. But it's within reason. So let's understand this. First of all, we've had Republican mayors prior to this mayor, and we had a better quality of life, quite frankly. We didn't have the homeless population numbers ticking up as we see now. We didn't see the traffic and transit delays that we see now. And there were always isolated problems, but people weren't publicly urinating regularly in the streets. It is a Democratic town, but this mayor has shown a complete disregard for actually doing his job. That's the difference. And I believe New Yorkers, as I mentioned, voted Republican. They'll pull that lever if they feel that the person will do a better job or if they're not happy with the leadership they have now. And in this case, this mayor has shown a disregard to do his job, to fly off to Germany when you have a tragedy in your community, to have a public derailment on a train, and you don't even show up. You don't even wish the individual's best wishes for a speedy recovery, and not even pick up the phone and say, Governor. If I was the mayor at that time, I'd pick up the phone and say, Governor, we need to address this issue now. I'm willing to kick in more money towards this capital plan. And we need to work together to find a schedule of how we can make these signal upgrades so we stop having these service interruptions that are plaguing New Yorkers each and every day to the tune of 70,000 delays a month. So this is what's happening with this mayor. He's basically sending a message to New Yorkers that he's trying to treat them as fools, that they're going to vote for him no matter what, simply because he has a Democratic label next to his name. But the reality is he has to deliver and do his job. And as you can see from all the quality of life issues that have deteriorated in our city, he's not doing that, and he doesn't even show like he cares.
All right. Well, Nicole Malliotakis, thanks for being here. It's been a pleasure. We'll have to have you back.
Thank you so much.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Best of luck with the race.
NicoleForMayor2017.com. Some of my ideas, and we just put out a homeless agenda last week, so I urge everyone to take a look.
Everybody go check it out.
Thanks so much.